Okay, so I have my acrylic pour, and I'm going to put a cross on it. And I think I'm going to turn it this way so that the white is more down, because my cross is white and I want this vertical piece down at the bottom. What I have done is I have cut some strips of stained glass. They're about a 1/2 inch wide. One's a little narrower than the other one. It really doesn't matter. These are about 4.5 inches long, and then I've cut some other strips that are about 1 inch long. So we're going to take this and make us a cross. We're going to put it on here, something like this, and then these will be on the sides as our cross members. So that's how we're going to put our cross together. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use some Aleene's glue, just some plain Aleene's clear glue. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here to hold my strips together. Right there, not much. And I'm going to put this strip right here like this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue along my edge right here to hold it down to the canvas. Just like that. Can you see what I'm doing? All right. Then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and put it in the middle. And I want the top and the bottom about a 1/2 inch. The bottom of my glass and the top of my glass about a 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my cross pieces. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. Not much, just a dab. And put this on. And then I am going to put some glue, whoops, sticking to my fingers, on here to hold it down to the canvas. You don't need much, just a little bit. And this goes here like that, like so. Do the same thing with the other pieces. Right here, here, and then put it on the bottom, just to hold it in place while I put resin on it. Keep it from falling over. Doesn't take this glue long to dry. All right, then this right here is a glass chip, and I get these from a glass blower, and I'm going to use this at this little piece as to cover up where my cross member is right here. So I'm going to put this on here kind of like that. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue up under here to help hold that in place, just so it doesn't move while I'm putting resin on it. So I'm going to set this here like so. I don't think the glue is touching. Put a little glue right here. Try that. There we go. Okay, so that concludes our glue. And now to decorate it just a little bit more, this is Starfire glass. This is some crushed glass, tempered glass, like fire pit glass, and this is called Starfire, which means it has absolutely no color. Clear glass has a little bit of a blue tint to it, and I want to be able to see my design through this, so I'm using clear glass so I can see my paint through it. I don't want to use these bigger pieces, so I'm going to pull them out to the side. I want just little ones, and I'm just going to take them and kind of sprinkle them on here. Just kind of like decoration on my cross. And I don't really like that one. I think that one's a little too big. Let me get some little pieces in here. There we go. Just like that, just kind of at random, not trying to place them. And you see how you can see the design through the glass? Looks like I got a little more glass on one side than the other. Kind of balance it out a little bit. There we go. Just like that. All right. Then the next thing is I have resin, and anytime you're doing resin, you want to make sure you have gloves on. Resin is sticky. And it's hard to get off, it's hard to wash off, so make sure you wear gloves when you're doing resin. And I use art resin. The reason, whoops, I need a different glove. That one just tore up. Hold on a minute. me another glove. That one tore. I still can't see comments. Don't know why. Anyway, I'll answer any comments or questions that you may have after this video. For some reason, I can't see the comments, so I don't know why. See if I can get them to come up here, but they're not. Don't know why. Anyway, I use art resin, and it's a 2-part resin epoxy. So I have 1 part of resin and 1 part of hardener, and you mix them 50-50, equal parts by volume, not by weight. So I'm going to take these two and I'm going to pour them together in a cup, and then you want to stir for 3 minutes. And so while I'm stirring and that kind of thing, this glue on this cross can be drying. So I'm going to pour 1 part into the other. And I have just a popsicle stick skewer that I'm going to use for stirring. Make sure I get all of it out of 1 cup and into the other cup. Get it all out of this cup. And put it in the other cup. I've already dripped it on my table. Anytime you're working with resin, make sure you have covered your table with some kind of plastic, because it will make a mess. It will ruin your dining room table, so you don't want to do this on your dining room table. All right, so now I'm going to stir for 3 minutes, and I have a clock in front of me. So while I'm stirring, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on here at Idle Hour. I started doing videos a few weeks ago on Thursday evenings at 5:30, showing you a little bit about what we do here at Idle Hour and telling you a little bit about our classes and that kind of thing. So tonight we do, well, let's see, we do some stained glass classes and we do glass resin classes. So coming up in the month of July, I have 3 resin classes. All 3 classes, they're Tree of Life classes, and all 3 classes are full. I also have a stained glass class that will be making something small, like a butterfly or a feather or something like that. It's a 2-session class. And in addition to that, I have a date night class where a couple is coming in and they have a transom window above their front door, and they want to learn to do stained glass, and they want to make the transom window to go above their door as their project to learn to do stained glass. So we're going to do that together, and they're going to learn that, and they will be coming in on the evenings, and learning how to make stained glass and how to make their transom window so that they can install it in their home. Had a couple other people express interest in doing the same thing. They want to learn to do stained glass, and they want to do their own project, do something, a window or something like that. So they will be coming in individually and working on those projects. Then today I had a lady come in, and she is doing some guided studio time, and she did a beautiful piece today. It was a piece of plain, well, it was a rainwater glass, which is clear stained glass. It looks like it's got raindrops on it. And she put 4 trees on it made out of wire and crushed glass, and she poured resin over the top of it, and she is going to put it in front of a window in her home. Her husband will be making her a stand for it to sit in. So it's about 9 inches by 24 inches. It's really a cool piece. I'll take pictures of it and post them on my Facebook page in the next day or two. The resin is drying on it, so I can't take a picture of it until it's dry. So she'll be coming back tomorrow to pick it up. So if you've got anything you want to learn how to do and you want to come in and do some guided instructional time, come on in. We're in Watkinsville, Georgia. I also try to do a little bit of teaching on my Facebook page. I'm still stirring. I got about 30 more seconds. You want to stir this until it is clear, and when you're stirring, you want to make sure you scrape the sides and scrape the bottom, and you want to stir slow. You don't want to whip it, because if you're not beating eggs. If you do that, you'll get a lot of air bubbles in it. You're still going to get some bubbles in it, but it won't be a lot of bubbles, and if you have a lot of bubbles, then you'll have a problem. You won't be able to get the bubbles out with your torch. So now that I have it stirred, one of the ways you can tell that it's completely ready is it takes 3 minutes, but sometimes it takes a little longer than that. Is if you look at it and it's not cloudy, it's clear, then it is ready and our resin is clear. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drizzle it on here. You don't want to pour it. You want to drizzle it, and you want to be methodical about it. So you kind of want to cover your glass first, and then after that, spread it out to your edges. And I try to do this so it doesn't run over the sides of my piece, because that's just kind of wasting the resin, and it's kind of expensive, so you don't want to waste it if possible. So I'm going to drizzle it on here in kind of a methodical manner, and make sure I have everything covered. Make sure I have the sides of my glass covered, my little cross. So I'm going to put it along the top right here, and on these sides of my cross, just like that. And as you can see, my piece is not stuck, so we'll fix that in just a second. Make sure you cover all of your glass. I always do the glass first, and the reason you want to make sure you cover all your glass is if you have not covered your glass and covered it thoroughly, then when your resin dries and you pick it up the next day to look at your piece, your glass is going to fall off, and you don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and do these pieces here, and as you can see, when I put resin on this piece, it's starting to get a little shiny. The paint, instead of being a matte kind of finish, it gets more glossy. It looks wet. That's what resin does. It creates a really nice sheen on your pieces. All right, now I'll make sure I've got down in here good. Get the sides of my glass cross. And this top edge. Get it all along there. And do these pieces as well. There we go. Got the sides of my cross. And if you move your glass around and you don't like it, you can take your skewer and move it to a different place and reposition it. If it feels like you got it all clumped up in one spot or something, you can move it around. So now all of my glass is covered at the end of this. All right, you notice that my little piece up here is not secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to make sure that there is resin underneath here. And I'm going to put resin on the bottom side of this, like that. Set it on here. Get it like I want it, like that. And then I'm going to drizzle some resin over the top of it. And this will secure it to the glass. When the resin dries, it'll be secured to my cross. It takes this resin about 12 hours to dry, 72 hours to fully cure. So now I'm going to put a little bit around my edges right here, and I'm going to take a silicone spreader and spread this resin right here like this. And I want to get it out to my edges, but try not to pull it over the sides. All the way out here like this, but not go over the sides. Resin is self-leveling, so it will kind of dome on the top of this canvas. But if I put too much on it, it will run off the side, or if I pull it, I can pull it off, which I don't really want to do. I've got a little too much right here. It's pooling up a little bit right there. So I'm going to take some of it off. Make sure I've got everything covered. And it looks good. There we go. And I think that's got it covered. I don't see any places that are skipped. One of the things you can do is look at it from the side and see if there are any places where it looks like the resin skipped it, like there's a skip in your paint, and you can spread it out and move it around. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to take a torch, this is just a creme brulee torch, and you want to torch this, and that pops the bubbles that are in your resin. Okay, when you do this, the heat pops the bubbles, not the flame. So you don't want to get the flame too close, and you want to move it back and forth. You don't want to concentrate in one area. So I'm going to take this torch, and I'm just going to do like this, moving it quickly back and forth across my resin, and pops the bubbles. And that's it. That piece is complete. So there you go. This is what it looks like. Hope you can see that. It's absolutely gorgeous, stunning. Okay, I'm going to set this one to the side. I've got some cups over here to set it on. And I'm going to get my other piece up here so we can work on it before my resin gets too cured. So I put this, I set it up on risers, which for me is cups, and my dog is ringing the bell. She wants to go outside, but she's just going to have to wait a few minutes. That's Molly. She's ringing the bell. I want to check to make sure this is level. So it's level this way, and it's level that way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of this Starfire glass on here, and I'm going to hang this one horizontally like a flag. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Starfire down where this blue is. Just along here. I'm not going to pile it up too high, but just a little bit. Like that, like so. And then I'm going to put a few pieces down here, like this. Not much, just a little bit along these lines. Molly, you're going to have to wait, baby. I hear you, but you're going to have to wait a minute, because I am doing a live and I can't take you outside in the middle of a live presentation. Sorry. All right. My poor puppy. She has to wait on me. So there we go. Just a little bit of glass for a little bit of sparkle. Not much, just a little bit. Just a little bit to add a little something something to my abstract red, white, and blue piece, celebrating Independence Day coming up. All right, you don't have to glue this down. It will stay in place. It's heavy enough to stay in place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this resin that I've already mixed, and once again I'm going to start with my glass. So I'm just going to put the resin over my glass first, and then I will spread it to the rest of my piece. So make sure I get this, all this glass covered, and you just kind of want to drizzle it on, get it, make sure you put enough on it that it gets down in between the pieces, but not so much that it pools up. It's going to run out from under it a little bit, which you want it to do. That way you know you got it on there good. But not so much that it creates a big pool of resin around your glass. This can be mesmerizing to pour resin, but at the same time it can also be very scary. It's not something to be scared of. You just have to kind of go with it and try it. And have fun with it. I love working with glass. This got started. I got started with resin because I had a lot of scrap stained glass, and I was like, what am I going to do with it? So I started looking around for things to do, and this came up. And so this is how I got started with using resin on glass. I love to do glass on glass pieces. This is on a canvas. And I also wanted to learn a little bit about painting. So all this kind of came together with my desire to learn to paint and looking for something to do with leftover glass, because you sure don't want to throw it away. It's too expensive, and sometimes it's just too pretty to throw away. So I'm going to keep going. I got a little bit more glass to cover right here. Here we go. I think I got it all covered. I don't see any places that I missed. Now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit down here to spread around on my canvas. And we'll see how this goes. You can see over here it's pulled up just a little bit right here. So it's probably going to go over the edge. So I want to kind of move it around. So I'm going to scoop it up and move it over here. And scoop it up and move it over here. Just keep scooping until I get it like I want it. And if it goes over the edge, it'll be all right. I'll fix it. We don't want any runs, but we can minimize what runs over the sides. There we go. One of the things also I do is I mixed about 3 ounces of resin. Wasn't sure how much resin I needed for these two projects. So I mixed 3 ounces, which was way more than enough resin. So I always try to have something extra to resin. So over here on the side, I have some Christmas trees that are ready for resin. Yes, Christmas trees. Already started making Christmas trees. It's July. So we started with Christmas in July. But I got to get ready for the Christmas season. So I made some Christmas trees today. Let's see what we got going on right here. Need a little bit more right here. There we go. A little bit more right here. It's kind of thin. And right here. And I think that's got it. And it is not running over my side. And it's not running over on this side or this side. I think that looks awesome. It is covered and resined. And looking awesome. Here we go. Got a couple of places that the resin doesn't want to stick or stay put. All right, here we go. So now we're going to torch it. Once again, you want the heat to pop the bubbles, not the flame. And remember, your resin is self-leveling, so it will find its own level, find its own little happy place. There we go. So this is our flag piece. I will post a picture of it tomorrow when it is completely cured. So we have some glass down here on the blue. And then we have our flag going across, our abstract flag. And that's what we were going to do today. And so I used about 1.5 ounces of resin. So I'm going to take this 1.5 ounces that I have left, and I'm going to resin a Christmas tree that I have over here to the side. You have about 45 minutes of time to work with resin, so I have plenty of time to finish my Christmas tree before time runs out on my resin and it starts to set up and it'll be hard to work with. So I'm going to turn the camera back up and so we can see. Hey Donna. And let me turn myself right side up. Okay, there we go. Let me see if I see, did anybody have any comments or anything like that? I don't see any comments. So, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will be back next Thursday. Not sure what I'm going to do, but I will try to post something so you'll know exactly what's happening and what I'll be doing next Thursday at 5:30. So this is Sheila Beckham at Idle Hourglass Art, and I want to thank you for watching. So until next time, friends, happy glassing. Thank you.